Oh my god, guy, I just woke up. I literally just got out of bed. And I turn on my phone, and I see a bunch of people posting Frank West. And I was like, okay, there's no way this could be like what this is. Okay, so, holy shit. Okay, well, first of all, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. Wait, we should watch the trailer. Okay, so for context, the original Dead Rising specifically is like top 5 games for me. One of my favorite pieces of media, like in general. We're gonna watch this. It's so crazy to me that the original is 2006. That doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like it's actually been that long. 2016 since Remaster 2, even that's like, wow, that's been 10 years. Seriously, what the fuck?
Say, buddy, you mentioned something about research for a story.
Oh, man.
Frank West.
Yeah, dude.
Because the whole world's gonna know it in 3 days.
Yeah. So clearly, and I've said this for a long time, I do think that this route is one of the best they can take. We'll see what it goes from here. But I think the game design for the original is still solid, other than, you know, little things that make it like a little bit harder than it was even intended to be, like how the survivors work and how unintuitive and infuriating so much of the design is for that. But most of the core game I think is like perfect. So a pseudo remake like this is really smart. I do want to point out, I really like the fact, and this is like such a Capcom move, to show a character that looks like this good, especially in comparison. Like, this is a full model remake, and then to show probably the laziest logo and like slide possible. Like, it's just the DR twice. And it's like, I could make this. Like, I could make this transition. It's so bad. Holy shit, dude. I have a lot to say. So first and foremost, I see a lot of people talking about Frank West's model. And okay, this shot, I think he looks great. Like, I think not there, honey. I think he looks actually really good, and he actually looks more on model comparatively to what comes later in his series than, like, say, Dead Rising 1 original to, like, Off the Record. I can believe that this is the same guy from Off the Record, and, you know, even the Marvel vs. Capcom games, I think, fit this better. As much as I love Dead Rising 1's Frank West, obviously, that doesn't look like the same guy. Like, at all. So I think this actually looks like a natural progression of, like, what comes later in his story. Like, genuinely. Now, a lot of people are posting, like, this shot here out of context without the other one. That looks bad. Like, that looks kind of bad. But we also don't know at what point this remaster is actually in development. We don't know how far along, because they didn't show much. And I do want to point out, this is a bit of an RE engine issue anyway, where characters will look like amazing, but certain angles, certain lighting, they'll look like shit. And, you know, shit affectionate. But it is a genuine problem, like, with their engine, and honestly a lot of engines anyway, but that is a thing. So I'm not going to just I'm not going to take this alone and be like, this remaster looks bad, they ruined Frank, because I think this shot, he like looks great. He just looks like Frank, and this is a much more head-on shot. So I'm not going to judge that. It feels weird to judge a remaster based on, like, what, 5 seconds even? 3. However, I will say one thing that I can actually talk about is the voices. Let me just play it through.
Say, buddy, you mentioned something about research for a story. Frank West.
Remember that name, because the whole world's gonna know it in 3 days.
So yeah, for people that don't know, both of those voices are clearly different. Frank especially, but even the pilot sounds different. But I do think that he's hitting all of the same beats, he's hitting the same cadence, and I think it sounds really good. I can compare them, actually.
Say, buddy, you mentioned something about research for a story.
Say, buddy, you mentioned something about research for a story.
Frank West.
Remember that name, because the whole world's gonna know it in 3 days.
Frank West. Remember that name, because the whole world's gonna know it in 3 days.
Especially Frank West here, when he says his own name, kind of lengthens the Frank part, which is something that definitely like the original would do.
Frank West.
Frank West.
West. Frank West.
Frank, like that, like, is very similar. But what I find weird is immediately after that, he goes into not sounding like Bertolo whatsoever.
Remember that name, because the whole world's gonna know it in 3 days.
It's like they dropped like the impression part. I do think that even this sounds more like the character of Frank West than any of the other replacements we've gotten before. Light years better than Dead Rising 4, obviously. Even that alone, I'm not going to be like, oh, this is bad, they replaced his actor. Like, obviously the original voice actor means a lot to me and means a lot to this character. I'm not going to act like it's going to make or break this, because again, the actual footage of this trailer is maybe like 20 seconds. That would be crazy of me. I'm not that kind of fan. Curious how it's different, right? It being what looks to be a remaster, we'll see what else changes, but it looks to be a remaster. It's interesting to change the voices as well, and I'm curious why. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of script changing, or they just wanted the voices different for some reason. If they repeat all of the exact same script word for word, it'd be kind of weird to replace it. We'll see. In general, this is something I never thought would happen, right? I'm really happy. It's so early. I just woke up. Something else I also wanted to point out is the fact that the Dead Rising Twitter has been updated for the first time in like 5 years. Their previous tweet was this Xbox One collaboration with Usain Bolt, trying to see if he can beat how many games he can speed through in 60 minutes. It's been bad. We've been through it in the Dead Rising community.